Hello, everybody. It is the 15th of October. Yeah, time is really flying by. Hello, Alicia DeMoss and Tony Punch and Sandra. I'm just now seeing other videos saying DOD directive. Yeah, well, that's up for tonight, Tony. Andrew Cruz, Geofactor 3. Hi, Bluesman, Sonny Fournier. Hi, Arbin, Ohio, and Shauna Howard. And Christopher James and James B. and Patricia White, Julio, Christopher Levens, and Tonette. Let's do radar. It's been quiet, but not so quiet. Sorry. It's been quiet for precipitation of any kind, but not so quiet on the nanobot front. As you can see, all of the little blips of what are we to think that is little blips of precipitation? Not quite yet, as far as I'm concerned. But hey, you guys in Pennsylvania, Ohio, in Kentucky, and Indiana, let us know. New York State as well. Got it. Yeah. All right. Right along the Texas coast, that has been very active with electromagnetic frequencies. We've got them blasting away in Colorado again. We do not have any severe weather alerts. 0. Okay. But just looking at the forecast model, I'm not liking what I'm seeing, though it does appear that there's going to be an awful lot of rain, Washington State. Quite a lot of rain in Washington State, North Idaho, as well, Oregon. So we're now midnight on the 17th. So all of that comes. This starts on 6 a.m. tomorrow, the 16th. Then at noontime, it looks like it's going to get heavier. By 6 p.m., it does look like you're going to have some steady rainfall. Washington, Oregon, Indiana. Idaho. And midnight, 17. Still quite a bit of rain. But we get snow. Noontime, October 17, which is Thursday. Snow in Idaho and the northwest corner of Wyoming. And it appears more snow now down at the southwest corner of Idaho, and quite a bit moving along to the, did I say northwest? I'm sorry, I meant southwest Idaho. Moving to the east, southeast of Idaho and into Nevada. And then quite a lot of snow in Utah, right along this bank here, and Wyoming, and the southwest corner of Montana. And then a whole lot of snow, October 18, noontime, for Utah, especially, and Wyoming, and a bit of Montana, South Montana. Oh, I'm not liking that forecast. Not at all. All right, so we're at noon, October 18. Still quite a lot of snow. Northeast corner of Utah. Also, southern Wyoming. And then we still have in Utah, this is October 19. So Utah, you're going to get a lot of snow, according to this forecast. Wyoming as well. Colorado, you look like you have southwest corner of Colorado, pretty heavy snow coming your way. Okay. Incoming into Washington, October 19 at 6 a.m. and a lot of snow for southwest Colorado, also into northwest New Mexico. 6 a.m., October 19. They might be holding it at bay for you, Washington. Noontime, October 19. Yeah, and all of that rain has just been, well, it evaporated. Still in Utah, snow for southwest central Utah into Colorado. Well, so not ready for the snow. Heavy rain in northwest Washington. Now we're on the 20th, Sunday at 6 a.m. noontime. Got some severe weather here in the panhandle of Oklahoma into Kansas and northwest Texas. Then it just is in Kansas at 6 p.m. October 20. Heading on into Nebraska, midnight, October 21. But still in kind of north central Kansas. At 6 a.m. October 21, Nebraska, you're getting hit hard with thunderstorms, maybe tornadic activity, flash flooding, hail, you know the score, but also severe weather in Texas and Oklahoma. And heavy precipitation for Oklahoma on the 21st, noon. And all of this could change, as we all know. Then it clears up. And where is that? Where is Nadine, or that tropical storm? We're on the 25th already at noon. Oh, and more snow, Washington, Oregon, Idaho. Not seeing it. Whole lot of snow up here in Canada, October 27, noontime. Sleet, snow, a whole lot of rain from Canada all the way down into the Atlantic. Everything is so bizarre these days. Everything is just so flippin' bizarre. Hi, Silent Walk, and Pamela, and Joni, and Mama Rages, hey. And Pamela Barone, No, I don't think people want to catch on. So there is something definitely wrong with my computer. So I'm just going to, I don't have much today. And that's not because something's wrong with my computer. I'm just getting tired. I don't like it. But how do you not get tired? Listen to this.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Liberty Report. With us today, we have Daniel McAdams, our co-host. Daniel, good to see you.
Good morning, Dr. Paul. How are you this morning?
Good, ready and raring to go.
Yes, Monday morning.
You better check. Maybe all the problems have been solved.
Yeah,
maybe we have nothing to talk about.
Back to bed.
Big choices. What do we talk about today? Are they going to do anything good? We keep looking for those good things. You know, if you think about it, we haven't had too many opportunities to say, you know what's happening.
Yeah.
But we'll find something that
a good
we'll
news
put.
Story. Yeah.
If nothing else, what I usually resort to is saying that is so bad, so evil, that'll wake up the people.
Yeah.
But sometimes that doesn't even happen.
Yeah.
But we want to start off with a headline from Zero Hedge. It's pretty hot headline. U.S. military now is authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil. That can't be possible.
Yeah.
Then I thought, after we talked about this a little bit, I said, well, you know, it's a big deal, except I'm afraid they've been doing that for a long time. When you think of the abuses in civil liberties and all the dumb policies they have, how many died at the hands of stupid government policy over COVID?
Yeah.
But that's over the top. You can't say that they have a responsibility, and that's on American soil. But what if we went to how many deaths have been killed by our foreign policy?
Yeah.
Civilians, Americans, and foreigners, a couple. So, but right now, this is a step. It's bold.
Yeah.
It's bold. Now authorized, and there's been some changes made in the law that says this. So I think this is a bad thing. I think it's another one of those point in history that it was acknowledged and it will get worse. And to me, that is it's now official to have a police state.
Yeah.
You know, if we're not going to even pretend that we're not supposed to have a police state, and we're not supposed to have the Army policing our neighborhoods. That's what local policies were like in states and the whole works. But this more, canceled it out. This would open up the door for the careless use, and if more frequent and legal. It'll be legal now, so nobody will have to worry about that. Send in the troops. We need you to shoot a couple of these people. Yeah. They're opposing our policies. They're demonstrating against COVID rules or something they'll come up with. So I think it's very, very dangerous. And hopefully people wake up. Maybe people will say, well, this was just a political stunt for the campaign or something like that to act tough. But I tell you what, sometimes they come up and nobody warned us that they were going to do this. It wasn't discussed in the Congress, and it's been sitting there. The main thing that most people should have known about is that you're not supposed to use the federal military to enforce laws.
Yeah, and honestly, when you first sent it over, I started over the weekend. I was looking at it and I thought, surely this is a hysterical exaggeration. This guy, you can actually put up that first link if you can in a second when you get back over there. But I thought for sure this was someone just kind of, a little bit too conspiratorial. So here it is. Now, Zero Hedge picked it up from Armageddon Pros, which is a Substack which they often run. It says U.S. military now authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil, just ahead, intriguingly, of November elections. And that was my second thought. The military has granted itself permission to unleash lethal force on the civilian population. Again, I thought this has got to be an exaggeration. So I went and looked, and actually go to the next one because this explains what it is. Now, it's not a law. It's a DOD directive. So this is, the administrative state where they take over They don't pass laws. They are laws unto themselves. Go to the next one if you can, because this is what they're talking about. And I went and I read this secondly, and it talks about a reissued DOD directive that was reissued just on September 27th, 2024. It governs the Department of Defense intelligence activities and now includes provisions authorizing lethal force in certain circumstances. And it supplants the 2016 version, which did not mention that. So I read all of this too, which is someone else's analysis. I said, okay, this sounds even more troubling. I want to go look at the document itself. So I went and looked at the DOD directive. It's DOD Directive 5240.01, DOD intelligence and intelligence-related activities and defense intelligence component assistance to law enforcement agencies, et cetera, and other civil authorities, September 27th. Now go to the next one. I'm just going to get to this really quick so I can, just so people, this is on their own website. Now this is section 3 of that directive, assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities. Now go to the next one. Now this is levels of authority. This is section 3.3. Defense intelligence components may provide personnel to assist a federal department or agency, including a federal law enforcement agency or a state or local law enforcement agency, when lives are in danger in response to such a request for such assistance in accordance with the following approval authorities. Now here are the authorities. I'm sorry to get so far into the woods here, but go to the next one. Now you go down here to section C, assistance in responding with assets with potential for lethality. And I underlined this, I highlighted it, or any situation where it is reasonably foreseeable that providing the requested assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or serious bodily injury. I'm sorry to bog the discussion down with that, Dr. Wall, but I really wanted to hone in on this is their actual document. It's not just someone's analysis.
Both parties have used it, one party more than the other, and that is the use of violence, like a target assassination, a really, really bad guy. And that was very bad. It is very bad. But this is something that's much broader. This deals with like routine policing activity. So I think it's a very, very dangerous thing. But mixed in this is the weaponizing the Department of Justice. I mean, you say, well, that's just politics. You go after them on the IRS, send them after there and annoy them. But at times that gets really carried away. People get in prison. How about the people who are in prison over this
January 6th? That was my first thought. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, that people died from that, and they will die, and there will probably, there'll probably be complications from all of this. But then again, the regulations can be well intended, but people make a mistake. What about
that regulation is not well intended? I think you all know that. It is not well intended. Our country is gone. When the Department of Defense decides for itself that they can use lethal force against Americans on American soil, what kind of country do you think you're living in? All right, the link is in the chat. You can listen to the remainder, which is another 20 minutes, they discussing this. And it's unfortunate that most Americans have no clue how their country is supposed to be operating. And when they hear something like that, they'll just go, roll their eyes. Well, yeah, whatever. The kiddies want to have fun. They want to pursue happiness always, 24/7. Well, that gets us to where we are. This was a very good little video that was sent to me by a subscriber whom I'd like to thank. And I'm going to play the whole thing. Yes, I feel very much like this man right here.
Spencer from Florida. I've got Mike's weather page on YouTube up, waiting for an update. I've got TikTok on the other screen. I've got mud in his favorite chair in the middle of the barn house so it doesn't get wet. We're somewhat bunkered down in the barn house the best we can be. But yeah, let's talk about weather modification. I don't know how, but some people think that they aren't modifying the weather still. Some people think they can't create a hurricane. Simple searches will prove that wrong. I don't need to hold anybody's hand. I don't need to prove anything to anybody. This was my deal years ago. I was into weather modification years and years ago, and I covered it. My old cell phone upstairs is full of cool stuff. Hurricane modification from before the 40s when they started admitting it. It was really cool stuff. They've been doing it for so long. Yes, you can create a hurricane. Yes, you can steer them. Yes, you can enhance them. You can pull water from locations. You can place water and push water to certain locations using EMF. You can't do that. You can remove water from specific locations using EMF. We have directional beam forming, millimeter wave, high band, 20 gigahertz to 100 gigahertz installed everywhere. It's installed everywhere. Not to mention the actual NexRad towers that are installed everywhere. If you don't know what a NexRad tower is, NEXRAD, look it up. Just look it up on like a DuckDuckGo, on a Rumble, on TikTok, type in NexRad weather modification. Don't go to Google and try to get the opposition where they try to defend it. NexRad is more than just Doppler, okay? It's more than just what they say it is. And we've been watching it. They've been creating little supercell storms from those locations all year long, and we've been watching them. Go to Facebook. Florida Sky Watchers is a great channel. But what's most important, what I want you guys to do in Florida, if you could do this for me, pay attention to everything. If you see something, film it. Get evidence. If you see something, save it. Please save it. Share it. And let other people share it. This is what we have to do now. We saw what happened in Maui. We saw what happened in Canada. What's still happening in those locations. What's still happening in California. What just happened in Michigan and Ohio. Those people have never seen storms like that ever in their lives. And they can't forget them because they were so freaking crazy. It's weather modification, period. Look up NexRad towers. Pay attention to the lightning, the storm path, what's weird, the surges, the supermoon, how is this affecting the tides. I think the storm surge could be completely different. So like Maui, we had a whole incineration concept. We might be looking at a whole flooding concept with this. So yes, the whole coast of Florida is supposed to be smart cities. Yes, indeed it is. You don't have to look too far or research too hard to figure that out. From Miami all the way to the Panhandle, there's a bunch of smart city locations and smart hubs that they're going to have. Already signed up. They've already made their pledges to the WEF in a lot of locations, including Tampa and St. Pete. So, my people in Tampa and St. Pete. So pay attention. Guys, film anything odd, especially lightning. The strobe light lightning is happening everywhere. It's not heat lightning. I've been here my whole life. Heat lightning with the little marshmallow clouds and just the little light flashes and light rumble and maybe sporadic little fractals. That's gone right now. These are supercell storms filled with freaking spray and metal conductivity, and they're like flash bombs. They're like flash bombs. Boom, 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 boom. They're flash bombs. It's like strobe lights. I've never seen this in my life. I've been filming it for 6 months. Nobody listened to me until it started happening a lot more and a lot more aggressively. That's because these supercell storms and these man-made storms are full of spray. They are extremely conductive. They're extremely electric. More electric than I've ever seen these storms. I've been in every hurricane that's ever come through Florida my entire life, and I'm 35 years old, and I've been out in every one of them, playing in them, but now I don't think it's funny anymore. You cannot trust these storms. You cannot trust our government. You cannot trust non-government, third-party entities that have jurisdiction to do this kind of stuff. Look for survey lasers. I don't care what we're looking for. All of this, directionality. People truly don't believe that you can suck moisture out of an area using a tower. You can literally suck the moisture out of an area, or you can push moisture into a specific area. You can create a perfect line of path. Think about the industry that's destroyed. Think about the locations. Look up the smart cities. Fort Myers is a smart city. It's supposed to be a smart city. It's on the list. Look at the locations. Think of the economics. Think of what they are intentionally hitting with the storms. Did Ian hit the phosphate mines? Let's take a hard right 90 and go hit all the phosphate mines when the Mississippi River was going dry and there was no fertilizer because the fertilizer was on those. And then you took out the fertilizer industry in Florida for a few months. Think about things like that. Think about the gas, the contaminated gas, oil, or diesel and gasoline. That's a lot of cars. It would be worse if it was in the reverse, but that is a lot more cars getting damaged. So keep your head on a swivel. Weather modification is real. We're not arguing this anymore. The ones that are awake can tune in, chime in, comment. Let's see what you guys got. I want to know what's going on. If you see something, get it on film, save it, share it. Let's go. Peace.
Good, huh? Thank you to that subscriber. The link is in the chat. Circulate it. Yeah, it's quite. He's quite right. It's true, and I don't argue it anymore. It's exhausting. These people who can't seem to do any research on their own want to claim that it's not happening, or well, give me the evidence. You know what? It's so late in the game. All you have to do is do a little bit of research or check out the channels that have done the research for you. Picking water up from any body of water, holding it, taking the cloud to where you want that water to drop, weather modification by artificial satellite, that patent that I have shown very often. Check it out. Weather modification by artificial satellite. They actually tell you how to do it in that patent with the electromagnetic frequencies. Oh, they also talk about how they can create tornadoes. They can weaken them, they can strengthen them, they can create them, and a whole lot more. That's just one patent out of hundreds. Okay, so yeah, North Carolina, man. So much is coming out about FEMA that is a big, big, big challenge for mainstream media and FEMA. More and more do I see talking about how FEMA is just not there, or they might be there, but it's so limited that hardly anybody is getting any help.
Has anybody been here to help you? Because this is the big question. Sean just played a clip of President Biden saying that you all are getting everything you need.
What is FEMA?
Right.
I mean, literally, what is FEMA? So my daughter, whose house got completely wiped out, she has no flood insurance, meets with a FEMA person, applies for everything she gets, doesn't get the $750 that Kamala says that she's supposed to get, gets approved for $300 for personal items. What is that going to do? That's literally what she got. Her entire first floor is wiped out. We hauled everything off. It's gone. So what is FEMA? And being a mayor,
so they didn't even give her the full $750.
They didn't even give her $750. Denied the $750.
They gave her $300.
They gave her $300. That wouldn't cover what's in the.
Has anybody been here to help you? Because this is the big question.
I don't know a mayor of what city or town. I don't know. $300. Yay! It is such a, look. Oh boy, Americans are being treated like shit. We took it. We bent down to take it for so long that now they don't care. FEMA tried shutting us down. They confiscated a side-by-side. Okay. I'll post the link to this. And I may have forgotten to Let's just listen to a few minutes. They're talking about, these are people who are just ordinary people trying to help out. Let me start it from here.
Just come from Canton River. So they did try to come shut it down.
And it's impressive to see how organized it is without government assistance. And these, just this sheet of paper, are lists of people and addresses where they're going to check on them. I guess it would be not great for these people, but it would be fabulous if that was the only piece of paper needed, but it's not. But yeah, they do talk about how FEMA confiscated a side-by-side and tried shutting them down. So you can check it out. The missing persons.
How many still remain unaccounted for 17 days after the storm is difficult at best. News 13 investigative reporter Jennifer Emmert explains why the state does not have an accurate count and why that's left many families waiting for answers. As the volunteers and rescue squads who mobilized in the days following Helene wind down, finding out who's still unaccounted for can be tough.
He loved it up there.
It's been 17 days since Katie Trina's family has heard from her brother Christopher.
He kind of bounces around the Asheville area, kind of just exploring the area.
Trina's family based in Florida was in touch with Chris days before the storm. He had a cell phone, but since the storm, nothing.
We just have to be hopeful and grateful that the time will come and that we'll find him.
They've shared his picture on social media and reported him missing to the United Way and Red Cross. They're grateful for local, state, and federal search efforts and thousands of volunteer hours from organizations like the Buncombe County Rescue Squad.
There were thousands of cases that the Register of Deeds worked, we had less than 200 that made the escalated list.
Escalated because of the conditions.
Those are the ones that, there was a landslide, so you couldn't access. The bridge was washed out, so you had to hike in.
The majority they were able to locate.
The majority of them were either well cared for because they were, number one, prepared. They might be, unaccounted for because they haven't been able to communicate with the outside world.
Those they couldn't reach remain on a list, now in the hands of the sheriff's office. That's where knowing how many still remain unaccounted for gets tricky. So many groups aided in the effort and have.
You've got the Asheville Police Department, you've got the Black Mountain Police Department, you've got the Sheriff's Department, you've got the State Bureau of Investigation. We had federal search and rescue, state search and rescue, local search and rescue.
Each had their own list, and until now, no one's tried to combine them or narrow it down.
We're getting to the point where we will have one list, but we're just not quite there yet.
That will take time, verifying each agency's list against the others and comparing them with the medical examiner's office. Time that seems like an eternity for families waiting for word.
I just want to say, in response to this cop who claims, whoever was found, that they were in great shape, they were prepared. What kind of alerts do you think these people got in the Appalachian Mountains? What I've heard from a whole lot, hardly any. They had no clue. And the numbers coming out of the ordinary people versus government officials is very different. That's unfortunate. Florida. Yeah, a whole lot of people, and still in South Carolina and still in Georgia. Some people don't have their power back. You got Tennessee. You've got a whole lot of states with a whole lot of people dealing with this every friggin' day. Still areas of Florida underwater, and the rivers are rising.
More and more people returning to destroyed homes and tattered communities. Jay Hager and his wife own timeshares at the Sea Oats Beach Club in Manasota Key.
I've been coming here for 40 years and never seen anything close to this.
The island permanently altered, parts split in two by Milton's wind and storm surge. Further north along the Withlacoochee River, flooding persists.
I need power, and we don't have a roof. People don't have homes.
Milton has passed, but the water continues to rise.
In some areas of the Withlacoochee, we're not going to see peaks for 4 weeks after the storm.
These communities just part of the ongoing aftermath of Milton. With so many still without power, linemen working nonstop to get the lights back on.
It's an effort that's not going to stop until every single customer's power is restored.
Milton also shutting down Port Tampa and knocking out power to gas stations, disrupting access to fuel across the state.
These gas lines are ridiculous here in St. Pete.
To help, the state opening up 12 fuel distribution sites.
We have fuel for the public. They're not even charging you. Free gas. Imagine that.
It's fantastic. I mean, it's absolutely necessary. Without it, I mean, people would be totally out of gas. We won't be getting back to work. It'd be a nightmare.
Still, months of recovery ahead.
This is a major operation. This is not something that's going to be.
Florida does seem more prepared than North Carolina. Two different governors. And the governor in North Carolina, a whole lot of North Carolinians do not like Governor Cooper. Pasco officials warning residents to be ready to evacuate.
Our neighbors, friends, family, heartbreaks for them. That's all, I mean, there's nothing else you can say. It's heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking indeed in Pasco County, as many communities are still underwater. They're days after Hurricane Milton. Good evening, everyone. I'm Josh Benson.
I'm Jennifer Lee. Thank you for joining us. Emergency officials warn it could get worse as some rivers are still rising tonight.
Yeah, they want neighbors at risk of flooding to be prepared to yet evacuate again.
News Channel 8's Melissa Marino joins us now live from Zephyr Hills in the Silver Oaks neighborhood with a look at the flooding there. And I'm encouraged to see at least some dry roadway behind you, but the water, it's still there for those folks.
Yeah, wait until you see this. You guys probably remember just a few days ago, we covered as hundreds of people were rescued from this community. Take a look here. This water hasn't gone anywhere. This is actually a golf course that you're looking at. It looks more like a lake. And county officials, they want people in other areas that are now at risk at flooding. They don't want them to go through the same thing this community went through. They want them to be prepared to evacuate. In the Silver Oaks community, neighbors say the flooding is unlike anything they've ever seen.
Nothing compares to this right here for the devastation.
We had Helene come through and now Milton come through. So now it's basically a giant lake.
The golf course underwater, homes surrounded.
Your house is surrounded right now. Except for the front.
This community still devastated by flooding days after Hurricane Milton. Neighbors are out of their homes and worry it could be weeks until it's safe to return.
They can't pump. They can't pump our water out because everybody else is flooded. There's nowhere for the water to go.
And unfortunately, that Silver Oaks area is a big bowl. So it's a water collection point.
And the threat is far from over for some. Experts warn that the Withlacoochee River is going to continue to rise in some areas for weeks.
Some of the rivers
For weeks, but that's not the only river.
County Sheriff's Office this morning is right now is not the time to be complacent, with NOAA projecting that the Withlacoochee is expected to continue.
I'm sorry, not the only county. So more people are affected.
To rise in the coming days. Now, remember, the Withlacoochee River runs north.
So even though Hernando County did not see that much flooding from Milton, much of what fell south is slowly coming here now, expected to peak Thursday at a near record 19-foot flood stage.
So an area where there wasn't much flooding, now the flooding begins.
For the weekend, Hernando County opened shelters for people to evacuate their homes if needed. Those across the community we've been speaking with say they've never seen anything like this before.
It's crazy because the Withlacoochee River is all the way back there. It's devastating. It's our first house. We're having our first child, and I don't know how long this is going to be. You know, we're expected in January, so the question is, do we even have a house in January?
So an awful lot of your fellow Americans are not in good shape. How about Texas? What's going on? 200,000 acres of private land? The state is grabbing it? It's not just the federal government doing the land grabs. States do it.
I'm down here in Texas to find out the real story about a 68,000 acre reservoir that is actually going to cost people 200,000 acres of their family land to provide water, supposedly, for the Dallas area. So I'm going to talk to the landowners down here. By taking the land, we're talking about a forced sale.
This land's it is not for sale at any price.
There's no words to describe it. It's soul shattering. It's not just your heart that breaks, it's your soul, because you're connected to everything.
If they should force me from here, I'll lock the door. They'll have to knock the door down, and I'll pick me up out of the floor and literally carry me out hand and foot, and me screaming bloody murder.
Why are they taking 200,000 acres for a 68,000 acre reservoir? Do they really need the water from this reservoir for the Dallas area people, or can they get it somewhere else? And how much farm ground is this going to take out? What is this going to cost the economy? So this is really the tale of a clash between city and rural. So is it really about water, or is this about money? So first off, we're going to talk to Casey here. He lives right in this area. He's going to be directly impacted by this reservoir. And we're going to find out his story and his wife's story and their family history a little bit. So first of all, they're going to put in a 68,000 acre reservoir, supposedly, right?
Yeah, 66,000 as it stands right now from Region D.
By taking the land, we're talking about a forced sale. So they're trying to force you guys to sell it.
Force us to sell to them, in which, you know, here, these lands, a lot of it goes back, you know, into the 1800s in these families. And this land's it is not for sale at any price.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a price on it. It's not for sale. But they will force us, if this goes through, they will force us out. They'll either take it, eminent domain, and just take it, or we'll have to take what they offer, basically.
And the footprint of the reservoir is 68,000 acres, but they're taking 200,000 acres. Yep. Is that right?
Yes, it's state law. There'll have to be mitigation.
So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So where is this going? Are we sitting right where it's going right now?
I'll post the link. As I was listening to them right now, I just thought to myself, they need this water for Dallas, right? The Dallas residents, really? Could there be data centers that are coming in that need a tremendous amount of water? For the data centers, I have to wonder. Because, you know, this is happening to an awful lot of people all over the country. Government just doing whatever the hell government wants to do. And that pisses me off. Here, 30 vehicles go up in flame in a Houston parking lot.
Fierce flames and heartbreaking destruction at the Creo on Yorktown apartment complex, as close to 30 cars and trucks go up in flames in the middle of a massive fire inside the parking garage. Houston firefighters fought the blaze that broke out about 4 o'clock this morning, a chain reaction fire that reportedly started with an electrical short and sparks inside one vehicle, but within minutes spread to close to 30 others.
This is horrible.
The biggest losers in all of this, residents like Shannara Benedicts, whose own car, a Ford Taurus that she and her fiance bought over just the last few weeks, it was incinerated.
Unbelievable. I had to go out and see if that was my vehicle. I didn't even remember if I parked it there or not. And then when I look and I'm like, I did. And I just cried because this doesn't make any sense. No secure place. We're at home. This shouldn't happen.
Now, the biggest question for all the owners of these cars destroyed in the fire, who's ultimately going to pay to replace their vehicles? Have you been able to talk to the apartment manager about who's going to pay for all of this damage to cars?
I did. And you know what she told me?
What did she tell you?
I'm sorry, but it's nothing we can do about it.
Youssef Al-Khatib is in the same boat. His dream car, a Mercedes-Benz, was burned, and he has no insurance on the car. He says because he just bought the vehicle 3 days ago, it was uninsured. Plex told you anything about if they're going to pay for this?
No, he told me you just fall with your insurance. I tell her I don't have insurance. She say sorry to hear that, and she gone.
This afternoon, we put that question, who's responsible, to managers at the Creo on Yorktown.
Is the apartment complex going to take care of the fire damage to all of these people's cars?
Sir, we're not able to answer. I'm not able to answer any questions at the moment.
Okay, who is answering the questions?
We're not answering any questions.
So we went further, talking with an insurance expert who specializes in offering insurance to people living in multifamily units, Jake Pistero with True Insurance Group, a 10-year veteran in the insurance business.
I do believe that this is going to fall on the actual owners of the cars themselves. If this was apartment units getting, burnt down or anything in those individuals' belongings in that regard, I would say it would fall under the apartment owner. In this case, I would have to assume it's going to fall under the automobile policies.
It was an electrical short. Was it another electric vehicle that just, 4 a.m. decides to explode in flames? So, it is truly amazing how much we have going on in our country, and a real good majority of Americans are either clueless or just walking around like, hey, I'm still living my life. No problem. Aurora, apartment worker beaten to a pulp by Tren de Aragua. As owners say, migrant gang took over and tried to extort them. Well, does seem to be a happening thing, right? This gang, Venezuela, is spreading itself, not thin, unfortunately. Yeah. So this was the employee, and the company which owns and had managed the properties posted multiple surveillance videos from its apartment complexes, including the footage of the beating of the employee late last year, that it said proved the gang has a foothold in Aurora. The firm said that as a result of the criminal behavior and threats, it has had no choice but to pull its workers back from its apartment complexes in the city of 390,000. Oh, gee, I guess our police are just, sitting at Dunkin' Donuts having donuts and coffee. This should not have ever taken place, but here we are. Despite clear evidence, many still deny the reality of the situation, sometimes using us as scapegoats. That's what the company said. That's why we are no longer staying silent. This is the employee getting beaten up. We will continue to counter falsehoods with simple facts and evidence. Yes, gangs did take control of our apartment complexes in Aurora, and the government did nothing. That is the real story. Wow. There's more to this. I'll post the link if you want to check it out. So many Americans are already feeling the punch of being rendered vulnerable by our government, filled with a whole lot of treasonous government officials. I was going to say something else, but why do we put up with this? So, is it really a shocker that we have plagiarism going on? Now, finding out Kamala Harris plagiarized a book, considering she's the VP for Biden, who is Mr. Plagiarism. So I'm going to post the link if you're interested in Miss Harris's plagiarism. There's a whole thread. Here, a 7th instance of significant plagiarism by Kamala. She copied the language verbatim from a California government website, substituting a single word rather than paraphrasing it or putting it in quotations. She can keep this going for a while. Megan's Law, Megan's Law. Just lift it. Go ahead, honey. Lift it and claim that it's your work. These people are so flippin' disgusting. They are. Everyone sees Ukraine is losing, and yet we continue to furnish them with arms and money.
I think that European societies are very, very fed up with this sending the weapons and the billions of euros to Ukraine, because they, first of all, they see that there is no, a reason for this, because the Ukraine is losing. Everybody sees this, that Ukraine is losing. I think that European societies are very, very fed up with.
And how many times myself and others that have posted and screamed out that there's no winning this war, and it's not about winning the war. And Americans, the billions going to Ukraine, the billions going to Israel, and other countries getting our aid. Where's the aid for Americans? How many times do we have to say this? This is a Slovak MP in the European Union, European Parliament. Yes, people are getting fed up. What is this even? Oh, I may as well. Okay. So, thanks to a subscriber for sending this. This, I think, is pretty old. I think I once heard this, but it's not going to hurt to hear it again.
They want to blame you for it. It's called psych.
So what he just said, I can't, I guess I can refresh. I'll refresh. Here we go.
Just want to sow discord, they want to blame you for it. It's called psychological projection. They blame you for what they're doing. It's a narcissistic response mechanism where somebody who's caught doing something wrong instinctively blames the person that caught him. The Apostle Paul was in Jerusalem praying in the temple. The Pharisees see him and start a riot, and the Romans rescue Paul, and then he has to have a trial. The Pharisees were the ones that stirred up the insurrection at the Capitol, but they wanted to blame this innocent Paul. David Axelrod was an advisor to a previous president, and on NPR radio, April 19th, 2010, he said in Chicago there was an old tradition of throwing a brick through your own campaign office window and then calling your press conference and say you've been attacked. They're the ones that do the bad stuff, and the innocent person has to back up and say, no, I didn't do it, and their name gets smeared in the media. And when it finally becomes clear that the guilty person did it, the public doesn't know who to trust, and they get a pass. They don't just want to sow discord.
What's happening in North Carolina right now with FEMA? So an awful lot of people talking bad about FEMA, and then they come out and claim that militias that are stopping their work because these people are threatening them, and we're going to pick up somebody and arrest them. Well, there's an awful lot of people who are talking about how they haven't seen any militia or any threats, people threatening FEMA. They haven't seen it. So, yeah, very short on supply tonight. I'm going to pull up TikTok and just go through what I have been reposting. It is quite amazing what's going on, but Americans' trust in media remains at trend low. Really? What a surprise. Trust in political and civic institutions, highest for local and state governments, lowest for media and Congress. Destroy trust in a people that have no real community and no real connections with neighbors or community members. And what are you going to get? You're going to get an awful lot of people who just, I don't care. They get fed up. They get overwhelmed. They don't know who to trust. And they just give up. Instead of doing the research to find out the truth themselves and not counting on any of these institutions anymore. So, if anybody wants to read the details here, the link is in the chat. Frankly, I don't really care about the details anymore, because the only thing that I care about is when I see people hurting and they're not getting any help, and then they're being either gaslit or scapegoated. That's where my interest is. That's where my concern is. I could give a shit about this election, this mainstream media, all of our institutions. None of this is coming back to us. Oh, but Trump, hey, no. Okay. It's phenomenal to me that people actually trust him and they consider themselves awake, and they don't care about what he did during his 4 years. Hey, Operation Warp Speed, never once has he come out and said anything about the dangers of that new product. How about 5G? Rolling that out fast. And, well, we don't care about local government because we're the big guys, and we're just going to usurp your power, your authority, and give it to telecommunication industry and let them roll out 5G wherever the hell they want. You in local government, you have no say. To hell with you. And so much more. The Savior is in the mirror when you look in that mirror. That's the Savior. No one is going to be saving this. Except for the people if they care enough. But how about the thousands of workers who will be laid off from one company, Boeing? Thousands more. Nope. Jobs are not out there. They're not out there. And the recalls are pretty amazing, actually. Let me make this a wee bit bigger. Recalls, and you can just put in recalls to a search engine. Almost 10 million pounds of meat recalled over listeria contamination. That's from Milwaukee Journal. Popular frozen items at Costco added to the recall. Michelinas, Caesars, Taquitos. I don't know any of that. Hundreds of products at Walmart, at Target. And of course, we have more recalls of cars, 40,000, over 40,000 Nissans recalled. Coca-Cola recalls canned drink mislabeled as zero sugar. We could do more news on recalls, but it seems that these recalls are really adding up now, and considering that a whole lot of farmers are getting destroyed by either, well, we've got to take your water and use it for other people. That's what they're doing in Idaho, or weather events. And that strike was only delayed until January, port strike. Oh, it doesn't look good in terms of having food on the shelves. In fact, this is unbelievable. Nationwide shortage happening now. Surgeries canceled. Let's listen to a few minutes of Tommy Bites Homestead, and I will link to it because we're only going to listen to a few minutes. Yeah. So here we go.
Hey, welcome back, fam. So we're going to get into this. A lot is happening in the news. Turn your notifications on. Definitely hit that like button, share the video out, and leave your comments down below. And I say turn your notifications on because I'm serious. I have a lot of videos that I want to bring you guys. I hope that it is helpful to you or just informative to you. And if so, please hit that like button because it does help the video get out to more people and it does help me grow. I have a goal that by the end of the year, I would like to be at 120,000 subscribers. I don't know if I'm going to make that goal. I definitely need you to share out the videos and hit that like button so that I can attempt to get to that goal. Okay, so what's happening now? We see that shortages are happening in certain areas. Not everybody's going to see shortages. So just note that before you start commenting and letting me know, hey, we're not seeing it here. But I do want to hear from you whether or not you are seeing shortages. What kind of shortages are you seeing? Not just food. It could be non-food products that you're seeing shortages in, or you maybe not seeing deliveries being made to certain businesses and stuff like that. Because I know some businesses like McDonald's have been having issues with getting deliveries in.
So I'm just going to look underneath her video just to see if people have been commenting. But Mass General postpones elective surgeries due to nationwide IV fluid shortage. Yeah, we seem to have And there will be more shortages, that's for sure. So I have to, let's see. Retired nurse. It will only get worse. Do not leave vulnerable people in hospitals alone. Do not go alone to their medical appointments. Do not blindly follow medical instructions. Chicago. This one has seen shortages in the grocery store. Shortages in all areas of healthcare. We had a surgery canceled due to the shortage last week. Oh, also Michigan. So that Mass General is Massachusetts. This one in Michigan saying there's a shortage of IV fluids for dialysis. Wow. Shortages in Orlando, Florida. In fact, it was Tommy Bites Homestead posted a video this morning. She was in a dollar store and the entire refrigeration was empty. All of the refrigerators were empty. Nothing in it. Okay. Excuse me. So, if you have the resources and you can stock up, do it. This is how fabulous our economy is. Manufacturing has pretty much died in our country. New York State manufacturing index plunges, signaling a downturn in business conditions. Really, signaling a downturn. We've had downturns after downturns, month after month, for years, especially in manufacturing. So when you see headlines like this, think about your fellow Americans, all of the people in those business conditions. What happens to them? We have an awful lot of people out of work. So many people out of work. So many people can't find jobs. That's because our economy is swell. And, you know, how often do we have to see the green fix to energy is not a fix. It's not a fix at all. Wind turbines on fire again. Farmers in Iowa say they can't get the company to clean up blade debris. So the farmers lease out their property for these wind turbines. They catch on fire. Here, 2 wind turbines have been struck 3 times by lightning, shattering blades, scattering debris over the family farm. As the blade debris becomes more embedded in the topsoil, the family worries it will contaminate the corn. Dust and debris from the blades spread out over 240 acres, and the wind farm owner who owns the turbines won't clean it up. The debris is hurting the family's agricultural business. Removal, the process is complicated because the foundations of wind towers, wind turbines, are made of concrete and steel. The family has requested that the company use a crane rather than explosives to remove the second tower because explosives might scatter even more debris over the farm. The company said the crane is not safe. And blade pollution has become a growing concern with a whole lot of blades that are busting up. The Vineyard Wind Project off the coast of Massachusetts, Martha's Vineyard, debris from the blade, which broke off and fell into the ocean in July, continues to wash up on the beaches of Nantucket, New York, Rhode Island. A Nantucket board is hiring damage experts to assess the economic harm to the area's fishing and tourism industries, as well as economic harms the incident caused. Oh. I'll post the link if anybody is, I don't know, an activist against these wind turbines. Maybe if you read further into this, they talk about how many birds they kill. Kamala Harris, her Twitter account. No one should go to jail for smoking weed. If you know what this woman did as a prosecutor in San Francisco, well, you would hope that people would be thoroughly repulsed and want her impeached as the vice president. Yes, legalize recreational marijuana. Now she's saying that. Maybe to get a whole lot of people think that this is going to get the black men to vote for her. Oh, I think there's a little bit more substance in those black men. No. And they know that what she did to black men, especially, was put them in jail for smoking weed when she was a prosecutor. And yeah, she did it laughingly. Weren't you the one locking people up for weed? Yeah, that's exactly what she did. These people are just so sick.
Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Senator Harris says she's proud of her record.
She's so into her power, she doesn't give a shit about anyone that she hurts along the way. She's just, man, what the hell? I wish we weren't where we are today, but we are. And I believe it was 1900, not 1500. And that's just the prosecutions on smoking weed. How about all the parents that she destroyed? Putting in jail mothers because their children were out of school for, well, too many days, according to Kamala Harris. And she does laugh. Can't people see that this is a woman that should hold no office that has, the office has power? None. I am just going to. Wow, it's only 6:45. Let's just take a look. Shall we? Yeah, why not? Oof. Okay. Well, this guy is very upset. Why? Because this 16-year-old suddenly died, and they're claiming it's from natural causes. What 16-year-old dies from natural causes? Are lying sacks of shit in mainstream media. Kristen Cinema, Arizona. Could you maybe, take money from your campaign and buy some clothing that actually looks good? Because whoa, that dress. But yeah, Cinema, I think is how you pronounce her name. Taps into her millions in campaign cash for lavish travel and meals. Oh, they love their positions because they just enrich themselves continually. This has been going on my entire life, right? How could it still be going on? This woman finds this stray dog after an accident and changes his physical and mental state into happiness, which is, yeah, the transformation was pretty amazing. But you can't see the transformation. What I have to do, no, I can't do it. I can't post this on another browser. So many of these videos may not play. Oh, and yeah, she's now denying, Kamala Harris, denying that she raised bail money for Antifa and BLM rioters. But she forgot to delete something. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris on her Twitter account. If you're able to chip in now for the Minnesota Freedom Fund to help post bail for those protesting on the ground in Minnesota. But now she's claiming she didn't do it. When are we ever going to care about integrity and moral character? When? I guess it's just not going to be a happening thing. Certainly not in my lifetime, right? FEMA is denying relief to ordinary citizens.
I'm officially mad. Stop saying this is misinformation because it's not. So I applied for FEMA. Look, you're registered with FEMA. The damages reported did not meet the required conditions to refer you to the Individuals and Households program. So denied. I applied for food because all the food in my fridge went bad when we lost power. And I applied for my windshield on my car because a tree branch hit it and cracked it. I applied on Saturday. Milton came through, was finished on Thursday. I applied Saturday when they put it up there on FEMA that you could apply. By Sunday, yesterday, I was denied. Nobody called me, asked me questions, nothing like that. Not to mention the neighbor across the street who's in a wheelchair. A tree fell on her house and she's staying with her sister. And she's on oxygen. She applied and got denied. Also, Find, Feed, and Restore, which is around here, which I may be moving into until I can find a stable apartment, sent a busload of food and people to go feed the first responders down south when the hurricane was about to hit. And FEMA stopped them, made them turn around and come back, and took half of their supplies, meaning their water, the food, everything they were going to distribute. This is not a lie, y'all. This is happening here in Florida. I'm talking to people with my own mouth, seeing them tell me this, and I got denied. I just showed you. For food and a windshield. And they didn't even call me to say, oh, we need to come out and look. Can we get some more information? I'm not eligible to be pushed through to talk to anybody. So this is really happening. Don't let the news lie to you. This is not misinformation. It's happening.
Have you seen anybody that has been approved? The only approval I have seen is a man that said his daughter got 300 instead of the 750. That's the only person that I've heard that has been approved. Okay? That's not good. It's not good. And of course, tax dollars goes to prisoners who want to change sex. Our tax dollars. Kamala Harris did that. She was very happy about it. 2009, John Jacobson Jr., now known as Skylar DeLeon, infamously murdered a married couple on their yacht by tying them to the anchor and throwing them overboard. Okay. So, Jacobson started to receive gender transition treatment. He obtained a taxpayer-funded gender transition surgery and is awaiting a transfer to a female prison. Kamala Harris pledged to use your tax dollars to fund sex change surgeries for illegals and criminals. A massive 3-alarm fire that is burning multiple homes, Newark, New Jersey. How is it that we have so many fires taking place, leaving so many people without a home? Yes, happening pretty much on a daily basis.
¿Cómo está? Me llamo Ali, soy un periodista. ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres? Guatemala. México. Ok. ¿Y usted? Guatemala. ¿Y una familia está allí? ¿Familia? ¿Familia está? Niño, hijo. Ok. ¿Y de dónde va, familias? ¿A qué ciudad quieres allí? Where are you going? Indiana. Ok. ¿Con familia o amigos en Indiana?
Una hermana.
Hermana. So, familia, hermana. Ok. ¿Y usted de dónde va? Pardon? Boston. Boston, con familia?
Still going on. All of the agendas continue to go on. Here, Hurricane Helene volunteer personally heard schools calling a church, begging them to take their donations before FEMA could come and get them.
Okay,
So I just did an FAQ video, but I wanted to address this question separately because I know everybody's very curious about FEMA and Red Cross and all of those things. I will tell you that FEMA is confiscating supplies. When we first got there last Sunday, we were at the Bridge Church, and I personally witnessed, overheard phone calls, and talked to the person that was on the phone. Schools were calling them, begging them to come and take their supplies before FEMA could get to them. So is FEMA going around and taking supplies? Yes, I think only from government-owned buildings, to my knowledge. So like schools and stuff, if they had supplies, they could potentially confiscate them from like a fire department or a police station, I think. I don't know what they're doing with them. I don't know if they're passing them out or, just trying to get them into a better distribution center with better leadership. I don't have that information. So I'm not saying that FEMA confiscating supplies is necessarily even a bad thing, just that, yes, it is happening. Red Cross, I don't have a lot of information on. I know that one of our 18-wheeler loads of generators that was supposed to be delivered to us this week got intercepted by Red Cross, not in a stealing kind of way, but they did convince the driver to donate them to Red Cross instead of us.
She seems like a very innocent girl, and she's doing an awful lot of work in Western North Carolina. But she does seem, and I actually appreciate her addressing this issue as she does. Who knows if Red Cross stole those generators or was convinced to just hand them over? She's not out here to attack anyone. She's simply speaking. And I posted another video of hers on my neverlosetruth channel. She's very careful in what she says, but I don't think she understands how corrupt our government is and that they're not working for us. But she does say, FEMA has apparently given an housing to one person, or no, I think two. But before FEMA would give the housing, she and others had to clear their driveway because FEMA doesn't do any of that work. They don't clear driveways, or I guess take those saws and clear roads. So they had to do it. And if they didn't do it, that person wouldn't get housing. Okay? So there's a lot of people that need housing. So far, I've heard two people. And here we go. Our fabulous, safe, non-criminal, illegal migrants. 3 Honduran illegals arrested in Florida for molesting a 12-year-old girl. Okay. So here's another one who's very careful to say that FEMA is not all bad, but anyone telling you that FEMA is there in a big way is just lying. I will post the link to this one if you want to listen to him, because I can't play it. Twitter has become not very nice to me. God.
There
Haitian migrants attacked a girl on her way to school. Residents report a rise in crime and car accidents, and this is in Pennsylvania. Schools and services are overwhelmed, of course. Where are Americans?
There's been some assaults with some kids on the bus.
Okay.
One student attacked another American child on the bus.
Yeah, it was like a Haitian kid attacked
Yeah,
a younger
yeah, and I
American
guess
kid,
he
right?
was like 20.
So it was a 20-year-old Haitian kid on the bus attacked a 14 or 15-year-old
Yeah.
girl.
He told the girl to move, and she said no, and he grabbed her. It like really grabbed her.
Yeah.
And like wouldn't let her go. Like they just get on the bus and go to school. You know, with like the elementary kids just to get a ride to school.
Like high school kids?
Yeah, and the school doesn't do anything about it.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, is
The
there any
school does nothing
disciplinary-
about it.
Just
People
because they're-
complain all the time about things and they do nothing. There's
Do nothing. This is what you get. So apparently there's a Democrat-funded camp 12 miles north of the border near Arivaca, Arizona. It's a Mexican cartel trafficking camp. I will post the wait a second. This seems a little odd because it played for me. Oh no, sorry, on another device. I will post the link. Just, showing that no agendas stop, and I don't think any of these are a distraction. Somebody underneath my video that I posted yesterday said, and it was on what's happening in Western North Carolina, they said it's a distraction. Really? I don't think any of these are distractions. These are agendas that are destroying this country. And to think that Hurricane Helene, all of the destruction, Milton, all of the weather events are distractions? Really? Oh my God, then I shouldn't be distracting myself. And look over here. Not when so many people are suffering. So, yacht killer. Got taxpayer-funded sex change. What a country we are, huh? NYPD admits these migrant gangs from Venezuela are growing more powerful and bold.
It's actually a subset of a gang, Trende Aragua, which we've heard so much about. They call themselves Los Diablos de la 42 Crew, standing, in other words, the little devils of 42nd Street. Wow. So these are individuals that hover in and around 42nd Street. They're basically a robbery crew, and they've gone in and around Central Park, in and around Times Square, and we like them for committing upwards of 22 robberies. And they range anywhere from snatches to wolf pack type robberies. When I talk wolf pack type robberies, I'm talking anywhere between 4 and upwards of 16 individuals surrounding soft targets, tourists, and taking them of their possessions. And weapons used, knives to upwards of guns.
Yeah. I mean, as disturbing as those crimes are, the ages are just as disturbing. How young?
NYPD can't do anything about this, apparently. Wow. Okay. That's a drag, huh? A whole lot of tourists won't be coming to New York City anymore. even for the holidays. I bet the tourist industry in New York is really hurting. This man said his property has been commandeered by FEMA. Oh, man. What happened? What happened? Come on, man. Oh. Okay. Now, this is what I'm going to try and do. It is such a shame what's going on. And government clearly feels that it can do whatever the hell it wants to do, because we don't have a constitution anymore. We don't have rule of law anymore. I don't know what we have anymore. Why isn't this coming up? Why isn't it coming up? Why is it so slow? Is anybody having difficulty with Twitter tonight? So I'm going to post a link in. You can listen to this man. And apparently, FEMA has taken over quite a bit of his property and won't assist him. Apparently, he's not getting paid for it. Okay. Sorry, I can't play it. No. Ah. Did I mention? Yeah, I did mention the 3 illegal migrants who sexually assaulted a child. Oh, yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. And Anthony Aguero, 6 hours ago, major illegal alien invasion is headed to the United States. Multiple caravans are now making their way through Mexico, escorted by Mexican military. And we are about to see a large number of special interest military-aged aliens coming through. Oh, a lot more. Oh, and the man who abandoned and chained his dog to a fence, and the Florida State Patrol rescued the dog. The man has been arrested.
We had somebody decide as Hurricane Milton approached that it would somehow be a good thing to take his dog and chain it to a post on the interstate. Well, we had a Florida Highway Patrol with us here today that saw that dog in distress. Dog was very rattled from that experience. Rescued the dog. The dog's now in Tallahassee. It will be adopted, renamed Trooper. But we said at the time, you don't just tie up a dog and have them out there for a storm. Totally unacceptable. And we're going to hold you accountable. Well, I'm proud to announce that the authorities have identified the dog's former owners, and State Attorney Susie Lopez is now pursuing animal cruelty charges
against the guy. Good. We need, a whole lot of states need tougher animal cruelty laws. They're very weak. Parents apparently doctors, nutritionists, state politicians protesting in front of Kellogg's headquarters in Battle Creek, demanding the company remove artificial dyes and preservatives from their American cereals. Make America healthy again. Unfortunately, it's not just the dyes, not just the preservatives, but also the genetically modified food that makes the cereal. Nope, won't play. Oh, Border Patrol agents threaten to leave in droves if Kamala Harris wins. I'm not doing this shit again. New York Post. You should never have done it in the first place. A big stand down. But you didn't. You took your orders, which left an awful lot of Americans very vulnerable to an awful lot of crime. Okay. Yeah. Those are kids. These are kids. They look like kid arms, young arms. We are the number one country in human trafficking. USA, USA, USA. And we have an awful lot of mainstream media, whether in Europe or here in North America, writing about there's an awful lot of people dying. The excess deaths they're actually now saying it's from that new product. I was fit and healthy before I got, that thing. Now I can barely walk to the next room. It's destroyed me. This is Daily Mail, Mail Online, Daily Mail. Okay. Oh boy. And I'm going to link to this because this might be a little pushy for YouTube. But you might want to click on the link, watch it, and circulate it because people have things in them. And it's not to say that those who didn't get the new product don't have those things in them. But nanotechnology found in blood. What they don't want you to know. There are blinking lights in people's blood. Self-assembled microchips emitting MAC addresses. Flashing blue lights. Nano. Micro robots communicating with each other. It's what nanobots do. And they self-assemble. Okay. Can they be remotely activated? Yes. Can these people be remotely controlled? Yes. And thank God for cats and dogs. Look. The cat retrieved the frisbee for the dog. We're surrounded by, excuse my French, shit. You know? So Speaker Mike Johnson, he says, let's see if I can play it.
So that's a different accounting than this 2% you say was distributed.
Yeah, so they've obligated some.
He's talking about FEMA.
So that's a different accounting than this 2% you say was distributed.
Yeah, so they've obligated some funds, but they've only distributed 2%. The rescue and recovery effort's still going on, and then we address the rest of it.
So that's a different accounting than this 2% you say was distributed.
Yeah, so they've obligated some funds, but they've only distributed 2%. And when I was there on the ground, and you should go, I mean, bring the cameras and talk to the people there. They'll tell you, don't take politicians' words for this or the administration's word. Talk to the people there on the ground. They had not been provided the resources almost 2 weeks out from the storm that they desperately needed. And when I was there, 13 days post the storm hitting that state, people are still being rescued. They're stuck in the higher elevations in the mountains because the roads are down and all the rest. So they need every available resource and all hands on deck. The rescue and recovery effort's still going on, and then we address the rest of it.
So that's a different accounting than.
For those who are not watching and maybe just listening, you didn't get what's happening here. So in this video, aired on CBS, the full answer, a whole lot of it was cut. CBS. Should I play it again? Why not?
So that's a different accounting than this 2% you say was distributed.
Yeah, so they've obligated some funds.
And you do know that he's talking about FEMA, right? Okay.
But they've only distributed 2%. The rescue and recovery effort's still going on, and then we address the rest of it.
So that's a different accounting than this 2% you say was distributed.
Yeah, so they've.
So this now is the full answer, but they sure did cut an awful lot out of it.
Obligated some funds, but they've only distributed 2%. And when I was there on the ground, and you should go, I mean, bring the cameras and talk to the people there. They'll tell you, don't take politicians' words for this or the administration's word. Talk to the people there on the ground. They had not been provided the resources almost 2 weeks out from the storm that they desperately needed. And when I was there, 13 days post the storm hitting that state, people are still being rescued. They're stuck in the higher elevations in the mountains because the roads are down and all the rest. So they need every available resource and all hands on deck. The rescue and recovery effort's still going on, and then we address the rest of it.
So
mainstream media, doesn't matter who is speaking, they don't want anyone criticizing FEMA. FEMA, you're doing such a good job. You really are. With your diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah, you're doing a very good job. Oh, with the illegal migrants, you're doing a really fabulous job. With the American people, not so much. Not so much. No, it's not going to play. All of these people coming into Irwin, Tennessee, so many towns, that were literally decimated. That's not FEMA. That's not FEMA. Another smash and grab in California. Okay, jewelers. Yeah. Walgreens is shutting 1,200 stores nationwide. Employees without a job. Don't have a bridge anymore. Don't have roads. This is what they're doing to get people. Well, here, man saves cooler of wife's breast milk. Saving milk for their babies during the flood.
I was born in the rain on a Ponzi train underneath the Louisiana moon. I don't mind the strain of a hurricane. They come around every June.
Watching these videos, for the preppers, you might get some good tips on what to do. Oh. Okay, it plays. So, remember the big hit? Oliver Anthony, Rich Man. I can't remember the full title of that song. Well, he's out with another one. Here we go.
If it weren't for my old dogs and the good Lord, they'd have me strung up in the psych ward. 'Cause every day living in this new world is one too many days to me. Son, we're on the brink of the next world war, and I don't think nobody's praying no more, and I ain't saying I know it for sure. I'm just down on my knees, begging the Lord, take me home. I wanna go home. I don't know which road to go. Been so long. I just know I didn't used to wake up feeling this way, cussing myself every damn day. There's always some kind of bill to pay. People just doing what the rich man say. I wanna go home. Now 4 generations farming the ground. Grandson sells to a man out of town. And 2 weeks later, trees go down. Only got concrete growing around. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I don't know which road to go. Been so long. I just know I didn't used to wake up feeling this way, cussing myself every damn day. People have really gone and lost their way. They all just do what the TV say. I wanna go home. If it weren't for my old dogs and the good Lord, they'd have me strung up in a psych ward.
Yeah. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Yeah. Rich man north of Richmond. Thank you. I completely forgot. Can't believe it. I'm going to post the link. I don't know anyone. Now, I really don't know anyone who wants to be alive. They stay alive for family or their animals. But I don't know anyone who wants to be alive. Isn't that amazing? Terrifically sad. Certainly telling of where we are today. So, what do we have to do? We have to help one another. We have to help one another. We have to try to build community. We have to be kind to our family and help them. We have to stop all of the friggin' nonsense of dysfunction in our lives. It does require, looking in the mirror, self-examination, self-reflection. That's the hard work that needs to be done. And that is the only way that we could ever manifest anything different. People stay the same. Everything stays the same, only getting worse. Live honestly and speak honestly. Be trustworthy. Your word is you. Your word. Keep it. It's who you are. And if you don't keep your word, that's also who you are. So, animal shelters, food banks, they need help. Your elderly neighbors, a whole lot, need help. You're close to these areas that have been decimated by a hurricane, whatever, whomever, whatever name. Go out. Go out and help. Put some money into the hands of the people who are living in tents now, with FEMA denying them. Bring some food, blankets, socks. A whole lot of people need help. On that note, you guys be safe. Thank you for showing up. Hope to see you tomorrow night. And good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.